Okay, let's go back now to our story of Angelina Jolie's breast surgery. Breast cancer kills over 450,000 people each year, according to the World Health Organization. Now, Angelina Jolie chose to have a double mastectomy because she carries the faulty gene BRCA1. 1 in 20 women has a mutated version of one of two BRCA genes. The mutation means a higher risk of developing ovarian cancer as well as breast cancer. Women with a mutated gene can choose to remove their breasts and ovaries. Well, let's speak to blogger Andrea Downing, who's live with us from Washington, D.C. Andrea, good to have you with us. Now, I know that you yourself carry the BRCA1 gene, the same gene that Angelina Jolie has, and you too opted for a double mastectomy. Just tell us what led you to make that difficult decision.
Well, when I was 25 years old, I took a genetic test and found out I had this BRCA1 mutation, and you know, this is something that runs in my family. My great-grandmother, my grandmother, and my mother all had cancer, and so for me it was a natural decision to take the test.
But I can only imagine that it is psychologically as well quite a difficult decision, because so much of women's identity and femininity is wrapped up in body image.
Yes, you know, it was a really tough decision for me, and for 6 years I lived with the information that I did have the genetic mutation, but it took me a while to really get comfortable with the idea of actually moving forward with a surgery. And I do think it's something that every woman has to deal with personally. It is a personal choice. And I finally got to the point where I was at peace with it before moving forward with that surgery.
It's rare, though, isn't it? I mean, I suppose we have to stress that relatively few women have to end up making this kind of decision.
Yeah, that is true. You know, BRCA mutations account for about 10% of, you know, all of the women who are diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. And, you know, I think that's an important thing to take into account. If you have a strong family history of breast cancer in your family, it might be a good idea to talk to your doctor and get genetic counseling. But, you know, testing isn't for all women, and I don't think every woman should you know, think that they need to be tested for a BRCA mutation.
But should more genetic testing be available to women? Because my understanding is that at the moment only one company in the world tests for these BRCA genes.
That is true. So the company is Myriad Genetics, and they actually have a patent on the BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes. I think that I think testing needs to be more widely available. It's currently very expensive. You know, worldwide, I think we could do a much better job of educating women about their genetic risk factors, and in addition to that, understanding the link between DNA and cancer, because it's a very important thing to understand.
And of course the fact that a famous Hollywood actress, Angelina Jolie herself, has made public her decision, do you think that will encourage more women to take preventative measures?
Well, I hope so. I hope that every woman coming away from this conversation would just take a minute to understand what their personal risk factors are, and understand that, you know, it is a matter of your environment and genetics combined that contribute to your risk of getting cancer.
Andrea, really good to speak with you. Thank you very much indeed for sharing your experiences with us. Andrea Downing there in Washington, D.C. Now, Israeli troops have used stunning